Hiya, and this is the blog for the breathing sound in my Foley project. While I was doing the video blog for the gunshot sound, I was actually ironing during the blog, which I'm sure is actually quite obvious, seeing as you can see the iron. Yeah, as soon as I finished for the blog, and I was waiting for the video to stabilise because I did it in iMovie, I was still ironing, and it's a steam iron. And as I took it off the clothes, as I took it off the piece of clothing I was ironing, I heard the steam sort of escape from it, and it sounded like someone exhaling. It sounded like just like a sort of sound, which I thought was quite a good sound. And I also heard a sound after that, which while I was pouring water into it. It just, when it hit the metal plate, the hot plate basically, where you know the metal bit, and it sizzled. So it just sort of sizzled like someone exhaling, which sounded really good. From that, from thinking it sounded like someone exhaling, I thought that should be quite good for the Foley piece, because it would give the viewer a voice. It would give them, because obviously everything's not in real time in the piece, everything's in freeze frame motion, so everything's in one shot. The fact that it had breathing, it would almost sound as if it would emphasise the fact that they're walking through a nightmare and walking through a still frame, because that's in real time. It's the breathing, or almost real time. The breathing is almost real time, so it's kind of a juxtaposition between the freeze frame of the video and the real time of the person walking through that nightmare, and it emphasises that fact. Yeah, I thought to myself it would be really, it would be really quite easy to make with those sounds. So what I did was I recorded myself. What did I do? Oh yeah, I dripped water onto the metal plate. I released the steam through a bit of clothing, so it was muffled a little bit and out into the open, into the air. I also pressed the water spray button, just to sort of get the just to see what sounds I could get from it. Yeah, for the sounds I used for it were basically the water spray, which was for the initial part of the exhale. I don't know whether you can hear. You can't really hear it in the video that much. You can hear it in a few places, but you can hear like a squeak almost at the beginning of the exhale. Which all I did was I just added a little bit of a low pass EQ, and then added on afterwards to finish off the exhale. I added on the steam being released into the air with the low pass EQ as well. It's just to remove that high frequency sound. And yeah, so that was the exhale done. And then for the inhale, it was quite easy. All I used was the water dripping onto the hot plate. And again, I used a low pass EQ primarily to match the three sounds, so that they were all of the same sound. They didn't have high frequencies in one part, low frequencies in another, mid frequencies in the rest. I did it so I could marry all the frequencies together, and also I did it because of the sizzling sound you wouldn't normally hear in someone's breath. So therefore, adding that in, or in this case, removing that, sorry, made it sound a little bit more realistic. So I blended all three sounds together. So obviously there was the initial inhale, which was the dripping of the water, a small gap, the squirt of the water, a very, very small gap, and then the a couple of milliseconds, and then the exhale, which was the steam released into the air, all with a low pass filter on it. Yeah, and what I did was I blended them all together and merged them together, so they could sound as close to the real thing as possible. Now, when I was fairly happy with them without changing the pitch of them, I thought, what the hell, I'll experiment a little bit with it. So what I did was I had them all as one sample then, because I'd already merged them together, and I decided to try and reduce the pitch in the time and pitch machine in Logic. I did this using a free algorithm, one of the free algorithms, so that it didn't change the length of it, because I didn't want the sample rate to change, because I got the sound I wanted. So yeah, I did it, and it actually gave it a bit more throat and a bit more depth, which kind of made it sound a bit more like the viewer was in fear. So yeah, I did that, and it allowed, from doing this and from completing the sound like this, it allowed me to actually emphasize the sense of being in a nightmare, because it had that deep throatiness of the inhale and exhale, along with the fact that that was in real time, but the film was in a freeze frame. It helped portray the image across that I wanted to portray. Thank you very much for watching.